Hi, this is Sarah Fox, and I'm with Rocky Callan, and we are Team Tequila, and we are here today to discuss book to movie or television show adaptations. So, Rocky, let's kick it off.
All right, awesome. So there's two parts of this conversation that I really wanted to dive into. One is just book to movie, book to screen adaptions in general, and what we can expect from them. And the other part of this conversation that I think is really interesting, both as a reader and as an author, is what does that process look behind the scenes? How does a book actually become a movie or a TV show? And I got really involved in learning about that process because I remembered so many of my favorite authors announcing selling movie rights or TV rights, and then things took years or never happened. And so I got really interested in what the hell went wrong. So, first off, a lot of times people talk about how a movie version of a book lacks the depth or the complexities that a book is able to show. You figure a screenplay is about 120 pages, more or less, and that is strictly dialogue, and that's for a full-length feature film. Books are between 200 and 800 plus pages. So think about what you're losing, what has to be cut out in order to make those shows possible. So there are things to consider when you're going to watch a movie and you've loved a book. So, Sarah, what are some books to movie or book to TV show adaptations that you've either loved or hated?
I really loved Me. Is it Lars and the Dying Girl? Me, Earl. No, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
Earl, and then the Dying Girl.
Thank you. Sorry, it's one of those. I loved Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. That one was amazing. I actually thought the movie was better than the book in that case. Because the way the book's written, it's almost kind of like a play or like a movie because the characters are obsessed with movies. So I thought some of the humor was captured better in the film. I think because it discusses movies so much in the book, it's like a really central premise that they're making movies. It's kind of easier to see what it looks like on a screen than a book, and it actually seemed to lend itself more. And the writer, I believe, was, don't quote me on this, was the screenwriter also for the movie. So it kept really true to the book. I thought it just was conveyed better. I don't know, and I've heard multiple people agree with me on this one. I think it was more meant to be a movie, in my mind, than a book. Like, just worked better because of all the movie components of the thing. So that one I really loved. I didn't hate, which is a compliment because it's my favorite young adult book of all time, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I think the book is still better because I love that book. It's one of my favorite young adult book, period. I stand by that. People can talk to me about it if they have issues. But I think it's beautiful, it's honest, it's gorgeous. I love the writing. But it translated pretty well. So the fact that it was my favorite book and I didn't hate it when I saw it, I think is high praise, actually, for the movie. Because I was ready to hate it. But Emma Watson's great. The actors were amazing in that film. David Bowie was played. What's not to love? So I thought they did a really good job overall. It's still not as good as the book, but I still find it enjoyable. So I think that's a compliment for that movie, that it managed me to still like it, even though the book's the best thing ever. How about you, Rocky? Any you love or hated? I can't think of any I hate off the top of my head, but it'll come to me.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that when you're a bookish person and you watch a movie and you don't hate it, that is really high praise because we demand a lot for our book to movie or book to TV show adaptations. I remember one that I was disappointed with, and I'm going to share it because I think that it's important to recognize like all the things that have to go right in order for a book to movie adaptation to work. So I was and am. I love Cassandra Clare. I love fantasy. And so I was like head over heels fangirling over City of Bones being turned into a movie.
Really? I've heard so many people say negative things about those books. No disrespect to Cassandra Clare. I've never read them.
Yeah.
Never read them. But I've heard negative things, which is why I haven't picked them up. People say they're terribly written.
Love her. But I love my favorite series that she did was The Infernal Devices, which is the prequel to all the other books that she does.
I started that and I enjoyed it, but I just didn't finish it because I had to return it to the library. But I liked what I read.
Yeah. So I like Cassandra Clare, and this is another piece. So, we always find like the soft spot for certain authors. Mm-hmm. Cassandra Clare is the author that got me to start reading fiction again, because I had been 10 years more or less reading only academic writing, memoirs, biographies, nonfiction. And I sort of divorced myself from my love for fiction. And so Cassandra Clare was the first author book that I picked up. And then I was like, oh, wow. Like, I remember this world. I'm in love with with fantasy, with fiction. And that's what just got me reading and reading and reading again. So Cassandra Clare will always hold a special place in my heart. It's like a lot of people have for Twilight and Stephanie Meyer's, that they say like she began their or initiated their love affair with books again. Mm-hmm. So Cassandra Clare was like that person for me. But City of Bones was the book that I first read. So I was super excited about it. Mm-hmm. Then, because of the complexities of actually bringing book to film, lots of things happen. Direction, the screenplay, mm-hmm. the cast, the special effects. Like, when you read a book and then you watch and it look like it's glorious in your mind, like especially fantasy or something. Mm-hmm. And then you see it and they're like, dude, why is there like plastic shit like going across the screen? What is up with like the 90s flame effects?
It's like
and so all of those things have to come together for a really good fantasy book to become a film. And so I watched that movie, and while the actors were like fine, like as actors by themselves, in this movie I felt like it was poorly cast. And then also the screenplay was tweaked in weird ways, because her books are like 400 plus pages, mm-hmm. and there's huge reveals that come like later in books, and they sort of smush it all into this mm-hmm. one movie, and it was just confusing, and it was just like, why would you do that? Why would you ruin it? Oh, soundtrack. Why did you fuck with the soundtrack? Like, what's there were all these things. I still watched it. I still enjoyed it, mostly because I'm loyal. But I was really disappointed. And this is another thing. My friend Annette Curtis Klaus, she had her book Blood and Chocolate option for movie. And and then turned it into a movie and everything. But she was like, they paid me, and then they just took my premise and did whatever they wanted with it. So Blood and Chocolate's based in the U.S., and it ended up being based in Prague, and it had like different characters, everything like that. So like when authors say they're allowing me to be really active mm-hmm. during the creation and plotting and whatnot, that's a big deal, because usually they're like, here's your money, we out, we got your shit.
That's why John Green writes on his Twitter, I at least used to, I'm not a caster of films or something, because he probably gets so much hate mail. Also, wait, can we back up? Are you friends with the woman who wrote that book then?
Yes, she's actually...
I had to watch that in all my Spanish classes all the time. I've just had a fangirl moment. I'm like, you know her, Rocky?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she was actually, her and Phyllis Reynolds Naylor were very close with my grandfather. And so I remember meeting them when I was younger. And then with Annette Curtis Klaus, when I started writing books again, we went out for lunch and we hung out. And she is an awesome, awesome woman. And her books have been banned, from schools and libraries. So every year when they have like the censored book week, she's always like, yay! One of them.
That's amazing.
Coolest lady ever. Yes. Yeah. And I remember it being translated into Spanish, and I remember loving the posters in Spanish, mm-hmm. the Spanish posters that they had. I was like, oh yes, Yes, it's so cool. So in terms of book to movie, I want to lay this down for everybody. So if you're a reader, this is when you need to be compassionate to your author, your favorite authors. And then for authors, whether you're getting traditionally published, whatever's going on, whether you're at the very beginning, whether you're like in the throes of it all, what to know. So when you have your book, it can be optioned, which is essentially they are renting the rights to turn your book into a movie or into a screenplay. So say Sarah Fox, she writes Bookish Awesome 1, and then it gets optioned. So they give them essentially like a deposit to say, we're interested in this, we want to have it for a year to see what we can do with it. Then studio people go off and they're like, oh, let's think of screenplay, let's think of market, this is for TV or for movie, what kind of cast could we pull in on a project like this? And they're sort of feeling the waters, the market, the audience, what's available, what kind of budget you might have, all those things. And if, say, you get to the end of that year, or whatever time period they essentially rented the option to do your book for, then it just dissolves and it doesn't happen, and then the author can look for another person to option the book. In the best case scenario, the book comes together, the option comes together, there's immediate funding, there's all like the producers, the casting, like all this stuff comes, and book is turned into a movie, and there's joy and happiness across the land. The other scenario is, and I know that John Green had this, I know that Tara Maffei had this, where initially things just didn't work out. And so things had to be reevaluated and tweaked. So I remember John Green, like gazillion years ago, talking about writing a screenplay for, I think, either Looking for Alaska or Paper Towns, and nothing evolved from that. But then Fault in Our Stars came, and it got immediate backing, and it turned into a wonderful movie. I did love that movie.
Fault in Our Stars?
Fault in Our Stars.
Paper Towns.
I did like that movie.
I haven't seen that one. Because I love the book so much, I got super nervous about it.
Yes, I went into the movie with low expectations, but for a movie adaptation, it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. It was the same thing. Like, you enjoyed it for what it was. And so, from there, you can start shopping around. So that's what happened. And so Tara Maffei originally was optioned for movie for her Shatter Me books. And then that fell through, and then she got options for TV series. So things tweak, things change, things evolve in the industry. And so you have to recognize that when something gets optioned, like when you get the announcement that something's been optioned, it isn't a guarantee that the book is going to be turned into whatever it was optioned for. It's essentially notification that a studio is interested enough to see what they can do with it, and then things start to happen. And for author folks, it's just some guidelines, some stuff to consider, is you get your deposit, and then you are essentially paid, if it does get to the point of like in development, in production, that a percentage of the entire budget is paid to you as the author for the movie, for the book. And last time I looked at percentages, it was 3%. But that can be negotiated. But
That's so
yes.
low.
Well, it depends on your budget,
That's true. If it's like multi-million, not bad.
Yeah, if it's multi-million, it's like, okay.
It's like 100 million. You're like, 3 million? That's fine.
It's
then
like,
your agent gets a
I can
cut.
make this work. Annette was telling me, she's like, it paid for additions on my house, so it's good. So that's the thing, is that to know that as a reader, as a writer, that if that your big dream, like so many of us have the big dream of wanting to turn our books into movies at some point. So to be aware of the big process that entails, that the kind of network and relationships that need to be built to make that happen, it's really good to go with your eyes wide open. And it's also really good, this is like side note, if you are watching movies and book to movie adaptations or any movie at all, take notice of if something feels really in vibe or really good, that with your book, like something reflects or mirrors the tone, the vibe, the camera angles, whatever it is, depending on how visual you are. You can note down things like dream screenwriter, dream director, dream studio, and just put that in your back pocket. Because the more aware you are of the process, then the more you can go into the process negotiating or really being able to reach out to the people that will best serve your story.
That's true. Also, you can use it as inspiration. So if you think about your movies, you can do, like, what's it called? Dream castings on Pinterest, like Chris Evans, any of my heroes. Make it happen.
Oh my gosh, Pinterest boards are an obsession for me. I mean, I haven't used them in an organized way recently, but back before, I would just flood my book stuff with like dream casts, inspiration, clips from movies, whatever it was that made me feel like in the vibe of the book itself. Awesome exercise.
So that's our thoughts on movie adaptations, and tell us your favorite ones below, and we will talk to you next week.